if your content doesn't make people laugh, think, or feel something, then it's forgettable.
I think when most people think of AI, they think of robots.
How to become a top agent or how to remain as a top agent and continue to grow your business.
It's all about further development and always growing.
Well, I know about Rocket and about the article I read, but I'm not like fascinated to know everything about Rocket, so that's why I say it like that.
Okay, well, they just made a huge deal with Redfin, which means more competition for Zillow. And we've been talking a lot about Zillow, honestly, talking a little bit of tea about Zillow. And now I feel like this is even more, but I'm like, is Rocket a bit late though? Because Zillow's been doing it for a long time already. So, Logan, I know you read a lot about this. You know more about this. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I'm so excited about this episode where we're going to really dive into the value that agents need to bring their clients and companies need to bring their clients. And what we're seeing is companies like Zillow and Redfin becoming an end-to-end sort of solution for people wanting to buy and sell real estate. So essentially in the news, you can read that Redfin acquired Rocket and they have a ton of different resources. I believe it's primarily mortgage, that they offer through their platform. So when you are searching on Redfin and Zillow, you're trying to, look at homes in the neighborhood, look at homes in cities you want to move to. Just with a few clicks of a button, you can try and get pre-approved and get that process going to buy a house using their platform for, less fees than the traditional model. So kind of wanted to open this up to you guys and see kind of what you guys think. I mean, are you guys pretty familiar with like how Redfin, Zillow work and all that stuff? And how do you think this is going to change the market?
So let me ask you, so Rocket, do you think, maybe we could just jump into this question, because I'm a little out of tune with this, but do you think Redfin will give like in-house lending? Is that kind of a position that they're taking on?
Yeah, through Rocket. Now, I'm not too sure in the details of if it's like a huge team of lenders that work, for a big company that has a ton of money that they lend out, but it also could be a company that just sources the right information for people that want to get pre-qualified to lenders and then sell them the lead. So really they're not doing much except for middlemaning the lead, something like that. So I wish I knew more about it, but there's just so much news going on in the real estate, industry. And I think ultimately we're just seeing companies like Zillow, like Redfin, creating an all-in-one platform that helps people buy and sell real estate. So what does this mean for real estate agents, right? And I think that's really what we kind of have to dive into. So, if let's say someone is thinking about selling their house and they go on to Zillow or Redfin and they say, hey, this is my Zestimate, and they think my home is worth, let's say, $600,000. So you sort of have an idea of the value of the home. What you could do then next is press a button, and that will lead you to a page saying, hey, let's connect you with one of our team members who can tell you about our process, what it costs to sell with us. And then so you have all the information right there, organized, clean, and you really have it all together. Another option they could do is call a local real estate agent or reach out to a local real estate agent on their website. And you kind of have an inconsistent approach to when you reach out to realtors, how quickly they're going to get back to you, what their information is going to look like, what their fees are. And it's kind of a inconsistent system or flow of business when you're going to an individual. And it's going to change a lot for real estate agents. So companies like Redfin and Zillow they're going to start offering these services for far cheaper than real estate agents do, because they're doing it in bulk and they have a system down to a T. So yeah, it's pretty wild.
It is crazy to think about because the smaller teams, I wonder how they feel. I wonder if they think maybe it's going to take a while to get all this set up, but Redfin and Zillow, in terms of their operation, is pretty streamlined, I would imagine, because it's a couple clicks and you're talking to someone, and then next thing you know, you're probably looking at a bunch of listings from their assistants or whatever it looks like. So I'd be curious to see more moving forward, especially I'd be more keen to see what the small teams think, or maybe their position on market share and what that might look like.
Yeah. And I kind of want to tell you guys something. So we've been in the listing media business for about 6 years now, and one of our clients is Redfin. So we work with Redfin, And most of the other agents we work with are usually, on the higher end, offering a really great service, have incredibly pretty brands and, good systems and stuff. And they invest a lot of money into paying us to do photos and videos and media for their listings. But now you have a company like Zillow and Redfin. Actually, we work with Zillow as well. Both of them reaching to us directly saying, hey, can you do this photo shoot for our Redfin listing? And now you're like, okay, if I want to list my home, I can go to, let's say, Brian at Keller Williams. I'm just making up a random name. And he has the best photographers and he knows how to do this and that, but also Zillow's using us too. So now you're like, what's really setting you apart from these big guys? And I think, as an agent, I'm for sure that Redfin and Zillow are gonna undercut you on costs and the commissions. So how to become a top agent or how to remain as a top agent and continue to grow your business, you have to give an immense amount of value to your clients. It's the relationship, it's the negotiation, it's next level marketing, right? And just doing more than they do. And you have to figure out if you're charging more, you have to provide more value. It just comes down to that. What do you think, Montana?
I think that I agree with what both of you said, but I think it's hard to compete. I always just think of Zillow. Like, I don't even know, just as a consumer that not really in the real estate world, more so now we're getting there. But I always think of like Zillow. Like when I was looking for new apartments, I always just use Zillow. So it's like, because even our next story is about all these it's related to CoreLogic and another real estate company. So I just feel like all of these companies are hopping on this train that Zillow was like leading the train a long time ago. So I do feel like it's cool y'all are doing it now, but I do think Zillow's a bit ahead.
So let me tell you a little bit about this. There's a lot of data that goes into the demographics of which people use which sites. Zillow tends to be a younger, like millennial audience and just like people younger of a younger age. Redfin kind of has, I might be butchering this, but they all have different demographics. Whereas someone like, a company like Realtor.com is primarily used by, people like over the age of like 55, 60. So they kind of have their demographic of people they serve. And this is like at a national level, but I mean, you could say that maybe Redfin is very, very prominent in a specific city, right? Because they have more advertising, they have more, things going on within a city. So there's some big hitters. Redfin is up there, and I think Redfin and Zillow are sort of like the Uber Lyft in my eyes. I use both of them. Redfin definitely has different capabilities. So me as like a real estate investor, I like using Redfin because they have a little bit more criteria of how you can search for a home. So like when I'm searching for, let's say, a home that is under $200 per square foot, I could find all of the homes that are like junky and crummy that need to be fixed, right? Because that's the only reason why. But if you're on Zillow, you could say, hey, I want a house under 500,000, but you're gonna have like a mobile home, and then you're gonna have this and that. So my way around it on Zillow is to say, hey, I want to shop for something under 500,000 and it has to be above 2,000 square feet. So then that gives you the price per square feet filter or whatnot. So they all have kind of different ways of doing things, but yeah.
Logan, do you think that with this merger, could you see just Redfin capitalizing on kind of the lower end homes, if you will? Or do you see it possibly being leaked into like the luxury? Because I mean, sort of how I think of, Zillow is the platform to post everything, but it doesn't represent the agent and their brand. But do you think maybe Redfin's just trying to bulk kind of, they're obviously bullying their way from the bottom, but do you think, top producers will be scared because Redfin doesn't really have market share like that?
I think where you're right is what types of homes are they going to be selling, right? So Redfin and Zillow have a good idea of creating what they think a home is valued, what they think a home is worth with the data they have. And that works really, really good for like tract homes and, normal suburbs where they analyze the data of the comparable sales that recently happened, right? Whereas if you go to bigger, more luxurious homes, it's hard to quantify what a home is worth if, let's say, one home is just 4,000 square feet and it's huge and nice versus another one that's down the road, 4,000 square feet, but has like beautiful marble, travertine, and all these like really high-end fixtures and just all these things. So that's where an agent comes in and says, hey, I think your house is worth more than Zillow and Redfin are saying it is. And this is why. Because I personally walked through that house that sold 2 months ago, and yours is way nicer. So that's what agents need to do, is provide that type of value. I think Redfin and Zillow are going to probably focus on the average homes in America. And that's probably, there's probably way more money to be made doing that than going into the luxury sector, if that makes sense. And you know, it's funny because every time we get a new like headline or something happened in the real estate news, media, whatever, you're like, oh my God, this is big, but it's just like nonstop, right? So like, imagine back in the day where, you know, when someone wanted to sell their home, they had to call an agent because they didn't know what their home is worth. Now you go online and you're like Zestimate or Redfin, and you get that value. So when they first like drop that news, I can guarantee you every broker in America was like, agents, like you need to like be aware of this because they don't need you anymore to know what their home is worth. Like sort of, because a lot of agents, homeowners really rely on this. They're like, I could just go in on Zillow tonight and see what my home is worth. And they do that all the time. So this is just another news article, but they're taking a step forward into, you know, their master plan, which is create a streamlined system for helping people buy and sell homes for a cheaper, more affordable price. And they're going to succeed. They're going to win. And slowly over time, as an agent, you're going to have to drop your commission or provide more value. That's just the way it's going to be.
That leads us to another topic, okay, guys? Keller Williams. I know this name. They sold an investment stake to Stone Point Capital, which is a parent company of CoreLogic, which CoreLogic is big in tech. I only know that from the like TikTok thing. But they did this in a move to aim at accelerating growth and delivering more value to agents and franchisees. So what do we think about this? How do we feel about this?
So this is actually really big news and great news for real estate agents, I believe. Now, you have two different type of brokerages, right? You have the Redfin, Zillow, these sort of tech companies, and then you have the traditional ones like Keller Williams, Century 21, Compass. And these traditional companies are really trying to empower their agents and give them more tools to provide to their clients. And, you know, them getting into business with CoreLogic or whatever their parent company is to ultimately give more tools, more data to the agents for them to have a better process, have a better idea of, you know, pricing. That's their sort of Zestimate information. So, you know, it's just giving them more tools to help their agents, you know, provide more value. So they have to compete with the tech companies. That's their approach. And who knows, we might have brokerages like Keller Williams and these traditional ones that are taking a step towards that and might pivot to becoming a tech company because they're definitely falling down in market share compared to the tech companies.
Yeah, I think it goes into like they're actually wanting to invest in every single team member, right? Or agent that is with Keller Williams, which is super important because you have different brokerages that offer, you know, different perks and whatnot. But if Keller Williams is down to invest into all teams nationwide, I mean, there's no reason why they can't be one of the biggest for market share. I mean, they could maybe compete for all areas of homes in every area that they're representing, but I think it's a great idea. I think it's a good move. I think it's very strategic, and I think they're just trying to keep up with these big hitters because they know that they can capitalize on, you know, their brand, their agents, you know, their team abilities.
Absolutely.
It's all about further development and always growing, which I think this is perfect time to transition into this clip I found because we've been talking a lot about like AI in real estate, and I feel like everyone is so scared of AI, but we have our boy Gary here, and he's going to share with us about why realtors should not be scared of AI.
Don't be scared of AI, like especially if you're a realtor, like robots are not showing up at houses next year. If you were a graphic designer who has no ideas, you should be worried about AI. But if you're a real estate agent, it's like, come on, like Fucking Megan Fox is not showing up at a listing and selling the house like that movie showed anytime soon. We're a little ways away from that. So let's calm it the fuck down. Let's stop always using fear. What this 48-year-old young woman needs to do is stop using fear as her reaction to new things. When I see new I go on the offense. I mean, by the way, AI could disrupt advertising way quicker than it's gonna disrupt real estate home sales. So I think for everyone here, it's about fear or optimism. And I think too many people default into fear on everything they hear. So I think the answer to her is to quit it. Stop being scared.
Well, I think Gary makes a good point. And, at this stage, AI is it's a very powerful tool that can replace some, basic things like, let's say, I think he talks about, graphic design and people that don't have ideas, can use this to benefit. But I think, what's really going to help agents compete against these technologies, or at least let them not replace them, is by providing true value, right? And this podcast is really all about value. And, I really think that agents that have, a good work ethic, and agents that build relationships, and agents that are, building their brands are the ones that are going to not truly be affected by AI as an AI taking their job, but those are going to be the people that will use AI to, speed up the things that are slowing them down. Someone who is scared of AI but isn't really skilled, you're just training AI, you're just going to use AI, but it's all about implementation. And, I don't think that agents should be worried. I think you just have to really come up with, a solid work ethic and just go for it and provide value.
I think when most people think of AI, they think of robots, right? They think of all the movies and all of these, robotic type humans, whatever you want to call them. But, I was just looking through the comments, and one of them said, I use AI for almost every process in my real estate business to automate it. I don't think people realize that this tool is not to eliminate you. It's really to help put you in a better position to succeed for your own personal business. But I think there's that common misconception of, oh my God, robots are going to start selling, like Zillow's going to have the first robot that's going to sell a house and this and that or whatever. But I mean, if you're streamlining AI to get the systems you want, it's going to help you become a better agent and really focus on those other tasks, showings, contracts, etc. I think there might be a common misconception is my point, and I don't think people should fear AI. I think Gary Vee kind of hit the nail on the head with it. We are a ways away from that.
Everyone's always scared of what they don't know. So I think just learning about how it can help you, or talking to us, because we have a lot of AI that can help realtors. So just learning more about how it can help you instead of being scared of it and thinking it's going to replace you. Nobody can replace those human connections. When I try to I talk to my AI, like sometimes like ask it for advice or whatever. It's not got the human touch yet, like it doesn't understand human emotion. So that's where we do benefit, where we're humans.
Until you tell your AI, hey, I want you to really tell me how it is and talk like this, and do that. It's kind of like that there's an AI that Elon Musk is working on, like Grok or something like that. And you could tell it like, hey, pretend you're a middle-aged so-and-so, and this is how you feel about this and that, and give me advice. And then you kind of prompt it that way. So, there's so many different ways to train AI and stuff. And I think for agents that are succeeding, or agents that want to succeed, you have to have a consistent recipe. You have to have a consistent recipe for how you do business. And this is the same type of service that you can do over and over again. And that's essentially what these tech companies are doing. And that's what technology does, is by allowing you to create some sort of process and put in automations and the right things in place to have that streamline, a very good quality service. So for yourself, I think you should incorporate AI into your service, right? And be able to give, your clients and the people that work with you a consistent quality service. And you have to think one step ahead. It's not just getting the listing, but how are you going to service your clients and things like that.
Totally. And that leads us to, I'm super excited for this, a bit of a case study of a realtor that is She's killing it and doing it, I think, doing something different and actually really thriving on social media. And she's only been in real estate for 1 year. And she just hit 90K on Instagram. Her name is Caitlin Hang. And so we're going to show you a piece of her content and show you a bit of her personality. And then we're going to talk about it, okay?
Pros of living in Mapleton, Utah: beautiful views.
Con, you have to actually cook yourself because there's no restaurants out here.
Wait, I was smiling in the video.
That's okay. You're allowed to.
I met up with Caitlin Hannig. She's a Utah real estate agent who's here to give you a reality check.
The Reen Primary Suite will be the perfect place for you to heal up after that much-needed nose job. Some has a movie theater, so it's the perfect place for you to not actually pay attention to the movie and scroll on your phone for 3 hours.
Her social media videos have gone viral for her honesty and stoic delivery.
I don't know that I've sold a house directly tied to any of my pros and cons videos, but I think one thing, it helps clients come to me and know that I'm not going to tell them to live somewhere without being honest with what they're getting into.
Caitlin is relatively new to selling houses, last year to be exact, but her videos have amassed her a large following, quick. And it all started with a few ideas.
One of the things that I learned was that if you feel this little spark of there's something more for me, then you should lean into that and you should do the scary things that take you towards that.
I asked her to give me a quick tutorial on how she does her videos. But first things first, we squat.
The fridges in this kitchen are harder to find than your dad's affection for you. And so then you have to look around the room and like notice a feature that's special.
Okay.
And then you have to think of how we can insult people through the vehicle of that feature.
What's with the squat?
Okay, well, it's because I have a short tripod. That's why I started squatting. Okay, well, the first thing I do is I decide which house I'm going to do, and I have some strict rules about which houses I do for the most part, and they have to be cool and not boring. I have this long list of mean things that I just add to every time I think of a mean thing to say, and so then I kind of just come up with a loose script, and then I show up.
Like Caitlin, many realtors from all over the country have taken social media by storm with fun and quirky videos showing their listings, making home shopping fun on the internet.
This kitchen has an incredible gas range that would be here for you if you ever decided to give the microwave a break.
Feeling called out? Well, Caitlin isn't going to hold back anytime soon.
So the fact that I'm coming in and saying, like, everything is horrible, maybe you're horrible, I think it appeals to people. There's some realness there that they're not used to getting from real estate agents.
Okay, so I literally am so obsessed with this girl. Like, she's even starting to come up because, like, I'm on y'all's page, but she's starting to come up on my personal page because I'm really obsessed with this girl. Like, I think we would be friends. She's not playing it safe. She's being brutally honest. She's roasting houses. She's roasting you. And she's making her real estate content really entertaining. It calls out the pros and cons of different areas, and people are really loving it. And I think it's working because people feel like they can trust her. Like, if she's going to say that, she's not going to sell you something, you know, bad or whatever. She's going to keep it real. And I feel like people can trust her. And I just mean, like, AI could never make these kind of jokes. Like, I've tried to get it to write jokes and it could never. So she's just killing it, in my opinion.
I love what she's doing. You know, I think that she's letting her personality work for her. You know, I think a lot of agents are sort of fitting in. Dr. Seuss quote, why fit in when you're born to stand out? You know, I think that you have to use your personality and what makes you different within your business, right? And she's being raw, uncut, funny, and people like it. You know, it builds trust, and I think a lot of people are trying to play it safe, but you kind of have to just be yourself, you know, and I think that people love that stuff. It's you can build trust within a brand by doing things that other people are scared to do.
I think when it comes to content, if your content doesn't make people laugh, think, or feel something, then it's forgettable. And so, like, when you go to make a piece of content, I think you have to be like, what is the point of this? Am I going to make people laugh? And am I going to make them think about something? Or am I going to make them feel something, like tell a story that ties into something that they can relate to? So I think that's really, really important. And I think it's really cool that she does that. Because I haven't forgot about her in a month. I, like, want to move to Utah and buy a house from her.
That's very unorthodox, but it's so unique in its own way that, let me see, she has 91,000 followers.
Oh, she's gained 1,000 since I wrote this earlier this week. She must have something going viral.
It's just really cool to see because, I mean, I haven't seen anything like this, and it just goes to show that you know, if you're authentic and you kind of bend the laws of like creating content, I mean, you could be really successful in the social media and, you know, getting leads and capturing all that. So it's really cool to see. And it's, it's really watchable too, which is the other part of the equation that I think that is super important is like, okay, I'm just going to scroll on her page and watch all of her videos. And like, that's what you want to do, right? You want to go to someone's page and engage and like laugh and waste 30 minutes. And you're like, holy moly, this girl's actually really funny. Follow her, interact with her, you know, like it's crazy. It's awesome.
I got an idea. I don't want to lose it. Okay. So for those of you guys thinking, okay, kind of recapping on the AI stuff, right? Is AI going to replace agents? Or are these companies going to replace agents? I guarantee you, none of these tech companies are going to program their systems or their team to keep it real, right? And to be brutally honest and say negative things, right? So most companies will be like, hey, I mean, you go to Carvana and you want to buy a car, they're going to be like, hey, here's the car, here's the price, and here's this, here's that. Whereas if you go to a dealership, someone's going to be like, hey, dude, this car has lemon law and everyone has problems with it, and they're going to be real with you, right? So I think that is like a true testament to authenticity and how it builds the value you give your clients is being real.
And I know like the goal is always to sell more homes, but with an audience like that, like there's so many more opportunities too that come her way, like other people wanting to work with her. I found she's been on the news several times. Like it opens up so many other opportunities for her too, even outside of real estate that could be adjacent and things like that. So you just really never know what can come from posting. And I've seen people like now mimicking that style. Like last night when I was scrolling, I saw another girl trying. I'm like, it's not even the same, but it is cool that like people are copying it, you know. That's part of like what the internet is. And then another thing that I was thinking when you were talking, Blake, about all this was it also, you don't have to just like go insanely viral all the time and like get 90,000 followers in a year. Posting consistently, like we had that client we were talking about last night where she was first nervous at first, so we were just posting like homes, and then we got her more comfortable like doing some things on her own, and then Blake shot with her and she started talking, and now she's like ready to go all in. Like, I want to do more, like I want to do this. Like people are messaging me saying that they're seeing my content. So like you don't have to go insanely viral all the time either to make an impact on your community and get more leads and get more people even just talking about what you do. Because if you're top of mind, even if they just saw your post and they see a friend saying, oh, I want to buy a house, or I need to be my house redesigned, like they're thinking of you all the time.
It's true. And I mean, I saw something on, I don't know, YouTube or LinkedIn or something, and it talked about how people are like monetizing like views. And, you know, if you were to really put that into perspective, it's like, okay, my reel got 10 views. And you're thinking, okay, think of 10 of your closest friends. And you go into, okay, my reel got 1,000 views. It goes into like a small auditorium, like a small concert, right? And then it goes, my reel got 700,000 views. And you think, okay, that's like the size of Anaheim, California. It's like, okay, so what are we really measuring here? Because all of this insight, like those are a lot of people that you're impacting, that it takes one click, one share to like infiltrate that other database. But I mean, think about 1,000 views, right? That's a lot of people that have those impressions. Those are a lot of people that are engaging in your content to the point where they're going to probably come back and they're going to continue looking at your content. But I mean, think about 10,000 views. You don't have to go to like macro scale of 700,000 views. But I mean, think about like a 10,000 view reel. I mean, that's a lot of people that you're reaching out to that can really shape the way this piece of content will change you. And I think it's super important to like kind of put that into perspective for most agents and, you know, people that are really trying to get this surface of, I want to go viral. But I mean, if you really think about views and impressions over like that smaller scale of, you know, that's a lot of people, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, turning those views to followers and hopefully to transaction. It's part of the funnel, and you could use, I've said this before, you could use your social media as your CRM and how you're reaching new people. And, you know, I think people are comfortable inviting you into their house to, let's say, do a listing presentation. So they want to sell their house, and I want to call you because I kind of know who you are. I've seen you online, versus calling someone up and not knowing how they look, not knowing kind of how they are. and it kind of being awkward inviting them into your home. You know, a lot of listing presentations happen at the home itself, so that way the agent could, you know, walk around the house and kind of get a better idea of what they've got and what they're working with. But it's just so cool how that works. And if you do go viral, please have the right foundation to use that success, to use, you know, all of these eyeballs and point them in the right direction. So a lot of people just go viral once, right? It's just like a one-off thing. And some people are good enough to just make a video that's so authentic, like you were saying, Montana, that she doesn't. She could do it over and over again, and people watch. Versus someone could do it once, and it's just not hitting. So, you know, think about if you could do it, build that audience, and continue to do what's working, and then figure out a way to not necessarily sell them, but build more trust and let them feel that they would be making the right decision by calling you. It's kind of hard with humor, right? Because you're like, oh, they're funny, but can they take care of business? But I definitely think you could tie them all together. And, you know, in the first place, if you are in real estate, you should be able to take care of business. And if not, you know, hire a TC or a transaction coordinator, something like that, to help you out.
I do think, especially when it's something so serious like real estate and stuff, that's why I do think some of the funny things do work so well, because you're only used to seeing them be a certain type of way. So like when you see the things that go off, like I think that's why they like hit so hard, because I think personality wins always. And that this girl shows it, because she's not, there are bubbly realtors that just walk in, but she's like, I'm not a bubbly person. This is who I am, and this is how I'm going to do it. And it works.
Yeah. And I think good media has layers to it. And what I mean by that is, you know, it's not just a home tour. It's a home tour with an agent in it. It's a home tour with an agent in it that's being funny. It's a home tour with an agent in it that's being funny, pointing out things that they don't like about the home. It's just layers to it. In our minds, when we see content like that, it's thoughtful. It takes time, you know, versus just straight up seeing it, right? And there's so many different elements you could plug into your media that'll, you know, help you have people's eyes, you know, and so many different things. And I the more layers, I think, the better.
This is like one of the last things I'll say about this girl too, because a lot of people think it's so hard and they're scared to do it. The reason why she squats a lot, like she'll go down on one leg, and she was like, it's because I bought a tripod, but I didn't know I was buying a mini tripod. So it was so low. She was like, I just kind of did it on accident. So I'm sure it was uncomfortable, especially like in the beginning, but then that one little quirky thing like is actually now what she's like known for. That's a layer, you know. It's just like there's just layers. There's, you know, duality, life.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what her demographic of followers are, you know, because I think we all sort of connect with people in different ways, right? I think some people connect with people that are funny. Some, you know, you might relate to the girl because she talks girl talk, right? Whereas someone might not, because they're just like, eh. Well, before we end, I just wanted to say that we're so excited to have reached episode 16 now, and thank you for all the viewers. If you make it this far, please reach out to us and let us know what you think. We're always trying to learn and trying to improve. We have some exciting things we're working on. We have our Omni CRM going to be launching on April 4th. We're excited about that. So if you're an agent and you want to learn more about how to streamline your business and, you know, have some really powerful tools and have a dedicated team of professionals like ourselves help you out, please sign up for the webinar. You can do so by visiting our link in bio, and I think there's a button on there that you could click. So thank you guys so much for watching.